we just heard this sound, and it was a car. Just came out of nowhere, lights off, just rammed through the crowd. I just blacked out. The whole arm, I wouldn't know whether it's here or here or here or, it just came off.
The 10th of February, pivotal day in your life.
Yeah.
Tell me about that day.
Man.
1990.
Yeah, I was talking to someone about it because it's a story it was for years hard for me to share, and I'm in a better space now where I'm able to talk about it. Street grandmother, we're at home on the 10th, which was like around 8 at night, and she was super strict. No one comes out the house that late. We were sitting in the house, I think after dinner, we hear like people singing outside. We all come out. Everyone, comes out to see what's happening, and it was people singing. There were a group of people about to pass our house. We ran to the crowd with my cousins. We were not allowed to, but this was nice. So it wasn't a big thing even, for her. But my cousins went back. I didn't. Why? Music. So I followed the crowd. And the reason this was happening is because on the 11th of February, Nelson Mandela was officially coming out of jail after 27 years. So there was like jubilations around the entire country. This was happening in all the major cities where people were like, we're going to stay up all night until the morning, of his release. So this crowd was going to a stadium, which is close to my house. That's where the camping was going to be, the singing until the morning in the stadium. So they went on the streets, basically gathering more crowds. And we were now close to the stadium. And just out of nowhere, we just heard this sound. And it was a car. Just came out of nowhere, lights off, just rammed through the crowd. So I was not in the front, but I was maybe like 20% in, and I just blacked out. And people were screaming, and when I woke up, there was fire. People were angry. So basically, this driver switched off the lights to literally just kill people with his car. And so they bent the car, well, they bent the guy too. And
they burnt the guy?
Yeah.
They pulled him out the car and killed him?
Yeah, literally. And he stayed there for hours, actually, without anyone coming for him. Because I remember this happened around 4 in the morning, went to a hospital around, maybe 30 minutes later, the cars took us to hospital. I came back from the hospital around 7, 8. He was still there, like not even covered. His car, he was still lying there on the ground. That cost his life and someone else's life who was also in the crowd. So by that time, it's 7 in the morning, I'm back from hospital. The announcement happens, Nelson Mandela is finally out of jail. We're watching this from TV. I'm sitting on the couch, there's just chaos in the country. People are so happy. This man is finally out. And I was on the couch in pain, after the accident. And I think what really happened to me, I don't think the car reached to me. I don't think the car touched me. I think the force of the people that were in front, because of the impact, they pushed so hard. So what happened is I dislocated my shoulder, but severely. I had no bruises, no cuts. It just came off, meaning my nerves that connect the arm to the body were snatched. And being in a small town, when I went to the hospital, no one knew what to do. So I'm there, I'm holding my arm, like, they don't know if it's broken, they don't know what to do with it, you know. So they just gave me a sling and pain tablets, and I went back home. But the pain couldn't stop. And then the following day, then I went to Durban, which is the bigger city, to go to like a bigger hospital, where I stayed for 3 months in the hospital, you know. And even there, they didn't know what to do. One morning, they were like, okay, we figured it out. They put a cast. So I'll have a cast for like 2 weeks. But the damage was here. But I was a kid as well, so I didn't understand, you know. The injury is called brachial plexus, which is the damage of nerves. And there's nothing you can do to fix damaged nerves. They can only fix themselves. So over time, so they tried different things. At some point, I remember I was being taken to like a specialist to see if there was life on my arm. So, because they were thinking of amputating my arm. So they put this device that had electricity to see if I'm gonna feel it. And there was just like probably like 5% of life. And he was like, no, we don't have to do it. Over time, the nerves will grow back. And that's what has happened, you know. And as a kid, I was 14, it was life-changing, you know. There's things I wasn't able to do. The activities, there was just things I couldn't. I was in a music class, you know, so I couldn't participate on the piano, like lessons, and we used to play recorders. And so I went through a phase where it really affected me. And just over time, I was like, actually, I have a life to live.
When you say you went through a phase where it really affected you, what does that mean specifically?
Like, why me? I mean, when you are born fine all of a sudden, and kids can be mean, so the name calling comes, and, you know, because also I thought it was gonna pass, and I would, as a kid, even have dreams. You know, I wake up, I'm like, oh, I had a dream last night, my hand was working, and I was doing this, and, you know, and so to me, it was like, maybe next week, and maybe next month, you know, I'm gonna be fine again. And so I went through a lot of that, you know, and then eventually acceptance, like, okay, this is what it is, you know. I have to live, I have to move on. And I kind of like stopped thinking about it and just focused on what's next. How do I learn to tie my shoes, you know, or just wake up and do everything without calling for help. That was the most important thing for me, because I didn't want to feel sorry for myself. That's the most important thing, where I was like, I need to learn how to not to call anyone for anything. Zero. Like, then that was a big thing for me.
What condition is your left arm in now as we sit here?
It has gained probably like 40% movement, and let me put it this way. When it happened, I would literally close my eyes and I would know it was.
Okay. So it was paralyzed at that point?
Yeah, the whole arm. I wouldn't know whether it's here or here or here, or, you know. So over time, I've started feeling things. I can differentiate between hot water and cold water. And every now and then, because that's another thing, I used to do physiotherapy a lot. And I was a kid, and I used to, after school, I go and I train, and that depressed me even more, because I was waiting for results, you know. And I thought, I'm training for muscle that wasn't coming. So I couldn't see anything. And when I stopped everything. I stopped thinking about it. I stopped waiting for it to be better.
Acceptance.
Yeah. So even now, it's like if I woke up and it was fine, do I even need it? That's where I'm at. Like, doesn't really matter. You know, I think my life has turned out exactly how it's supposed to.